to the Spells classroom. So since today is the Super Bowl, I thought I would read some Super Bowl facts. I have 55 facts about the Super Bowl since it is Super Bowl 55. I hope that you enjoy. The 1983 Super Bowl 44 broke a long-standing TV ratings record. So in 1983, 105.97 million people tuned in to the final episode of MASH, making it the most watched TV broadcast in American history. It took more than a quarter century, but in February 2010, the Super Bowl finally broke that record when 106.5 million people watched the New Orleans Saints beat the Indianapolis Colts. The Super Bowl has gone into overtime only once. The AFC and NFC team take turns being the home team. So if you didn't know, there was a designated home and away team, despite the fact that it's played at a neutral site. Now you know. The lowest scoring game was the Patriots. Was when the Patriots beat the Rams 13-3. The game has been played in 10 different states, and those states would be Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, and Texas. The Patriots and Broncos have lost the most Super Bowls. As of 2019, they both have 5 losses under their belts. The Patriots have appeared in the most Super Bowls. So as of the 2019 season, they were in 11 Super Bowls, 3 more than the Steelers, Cowboys, and Broncos. Only one man has been named MVP for the losing team, and his name is Chuck Howley. Why it's called the Super Bowl? So the timing of when the AFC NFC title game got its name is slightly disputed, but the legend is Kansas City Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt coined it based off the Super Bowl toy his daughter and son played with. There's only one starting quarterback who has won a Super Bowl title with 2 different teams, and his name is Peyton Manning. A total of 12 teams have never won a Super Bowl, and the list is the Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Texans, Chargers, Titans, Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons, Bengals, Bills, and Vikings. And of that group, the Browns, Lions, Jaguars, and Texans have never made it to a Super Bowl. Around 23 million American adults are likely to bet on the Super Bowl, and there's a record-breaking wagering amount, which is 325 million. 5,706 is the average cost of a ticket to the past 5 Super Bowls. $5.6 million, the average cost for a 30-second commercial during Super Bowl 54. One in 2 people would sacrifice their vacation days for 1 year to watch their team win the Super Bowl. More than 1 in 3 would give up their annual bonus. Cleveland has never played in nor hosted a Super Bowl, and it's the only current NFL city that has neither hosted a Super Bowl or seen its own team, the Browns, make an appearance in one. 1.4 billion chicken wings will be eaten during the Super Bowl weekend, plus at least 11.2 million pounds of chips, 8 million pounds of guacamole, and 10 million pounds of ribs. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is a football mounted in a kicking position. Phil Simms was paid a lot of money to say he was celebrating his Super Bowl win by going to Disney World. He was paid $75,000 to shout, "I'm going to Disney World," moments after the Giants won the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl Sunday is the second biggest eating day of the year. Thanksgiving beats it. Super Bowl fans would really like to see Weird Al Yankovic take the stage at halftime. Petition on Change.org had over 1,000 signatures for this. Two teams are tied for the most Super Bowl wins, and a third could join them after Super Bowl 54. So that's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots are tied for the record for the most Super Bowl wins, having captured 6 Vince Lombardi trophies apiece. The San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys have each won 5. Jim McMahon embraced the pre-Super Bowl spotlight. A few days before the Super Bowl 1986, Bears quarterback Jim McMahon mooned a TV news helicopter that was flying over one of Chicago's practice sessions. There's never been a shutout in a Super Bowl. So the Miami Dolphins hold the record for the fewest points scored in a Super Bowl in 1972. They lost to Dallas 24-3. There was a major mishap when the second half kicked off in Super Bowl I. During Super Bowl I in 1967, NBC was still in commercial when the second half kicked off. Officials asked the Packers to kick off again. The 1989 halftime show was broadcast in 3D. The 1989 Super Bowl halftime show was broadcast in 3D, and which was a novelty at the time. In it, a magician dressed like Elvis Presto, had the entire stadium participate in a round of the classic "Is This Your Card" trick. In 2005, when Jacksonville, Florida hosted the Super Bowl, they had to get creative. They didn't have enough hotel rooms to meet the NFL's requirements, so they used 5 docked cruise ships as floating hotels. Lisa Simpson correctly guessed the winner of Super Bowl 26 in 1992. Springfield's residents wonder Kine really knows her football. In an episode of The Simpsons, which aired on January 23, 1992, Lisa correctly guessed that Washington would beat Buffalo in Super Bowl 26, which was played 3 days later. In 1977, a frisbee catching dog provided some pre-game entertainment, and it included a frisbee catching dog named Ashley Whippet. Boston's former mayor had to send a lot of Dunkin' products to New York when they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl in 2008. Installing new sod for a Super Bowl game is a pretty big task. A fresh layer of high-quality natural sod is installed on the field prior to each Super Bowl played on natural grass. For Super Bowl 50, the company West Coast Turf harvested 75,000 square feet of premium grass on the NFL's behalf. The Super Bowl I halftime show included 300 pigeons, and it also consisted of 2 marching bands, acclaimed trumpeter Al Hirt, 2 men in jetpacks, and don't forget the pigeons. A power outage put a halt to Super Bowl in 2013. A power outage at the New Orleans Superdome, and it lasted for 34 minutes. The Vince Lombardi trophy is crafted by Tiffany & Co., which is made out of sterling silver. In 1971, a member of the losing team was named MVP. And that was Chuck Hawley, which we already went over that fact. California Aquarium hosts an otter bowl. For the past several years, the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California has hosted an annual Otter Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday, where a group of these adorable mammals play around with the football while a staffer narrates the action. The event was canceled in 2019 so that the aquarium and its visitors could pay tribute to Brooke, a popular 21-year-old sea otter resident who passed away shortly before the event following a congestive heart failure, but it has returned. There's a simple way to determine who will be the home team. And in odd number Super Bowls, the NFC team is designated the home team, while the AFC teams join that honor during the even numbered Super Bowls. Western Pennsylvania produces a lot of star quarterbacks. So they've Johnny Unitas, Joe Namath, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, and Jim Kelly all played in at least one Super Bowl. And the 6th George Blanda competed as a place kicker in Super Bowl II. Maryland sports fans had a good reason to not love New York back in 1969. On January 12th of that year, the New York Jets upset the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. 9 months later, the New York Mets prevailed over the heavily favored Baltimore Orioles in the '69 World Series. The Pittsburgh Steelers were the first winning team to visit the White House. They visited with Jimmy Carter with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who had won the 1979 World Series. The 1985 Chicago Bears were nominated for a Grammy. The 1985 Bears recorded a hit rap song called Super Bowl Shuffle, which was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rhythm and Blues Performance by a duo or group with vocal. But it had lost to Prince's and the Revolution's Kiss. The coin used for Super Bowl. The Super Bowl in 2010 was out of this world. It featured an unusual piece of memorabilia, the coin that was flipped right before the game had previously spent 11 days orbiting the Earth on a NASA space mission. John Candy caused a momentary bit of distraction on San Francisco Super Bowl 23 game-winning drive in 1989. Joe Montana saw a celebrity spectator in mid-huddle. He nonchalantly asked his teammates, "Hey, isn't that John Candy over there?" The Super Bowl has given some popular TV shows a great start. The Wonder Years, Family Guy, and Undercover Boss all made their premieres immediately after the Super Bowl. There's been a fair amount of back-to-back Super Bowl victories. Back-to-back Super Bowl victories aren't as rare as you might think. The Packers, Dolphins, 49ers, Cowboys, Broncos, Patriots, and Steelers have all pulled off this feature. In fact, Pittsburgh has won back-to-back Super Bowls on 2 separate occasions. Super Bowl I was far from a sellout event, so the priciest tickets in 1967 cost $12, which would be about $89 today. Joe Salvea had the perfect answer to a reporter's question on Super Bowl Media Day 2000. On Super Bowl Media Day in 2000, a reporter asked the then Titans defensive tackle, "What's your relationship with football?" He replied, "I'd say it's strictly platonic." The NFC had a 13-year winning streak from 1985 to 1997. The NFC won 13 straight Super Bowls. During that streak, the NFC clubs outscored their AFC opponents by a cumulative score of 490 to 219. A sitting president has never attended a Super Bowl. However, 4 sitting vice presidents have. Spiro Agnew, George H.W. Bush, Al Gore, and Mike Pence have made big game appearances. A streaker interrupted the 2004 Super Bowl. Just before the second half kickoff in the 2004 Super Bowl, a man disguised as a referee stripped down to a G-string and streaked across the field. Patriots linebacker Matt Chatham was able to knock him to the ground, enabling security to apprehend the hooligan. Things got messy at the White House celebration for the Super Bowl 21. While celebrating the Giants' Super Bowl 21 victory with President Reagan at the White House, linebacker Harry Carson emptied a Gatorade tub of popcorn over the Gipper's head. Tom Brady is the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Super Bowl players get pretty hefty bonuses. So in 2019, every player on the Patriots championship roster earned $118,000 for winning. The defeated Los Angeles Rams received $59,000 each as a consolation prize. The player who scored the first ever Super Bowl touchdown was hungover. So the very first Super Bowl touchdown was scored in 1967 by Packers wide receiver Max McGee, who was hungover at the time. And our 55th fact. Tom Brady is the NFL's most winning quarterback. New England Patriots. Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls, more than any other starting quarterback. Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana won 4 apiece. Is all for today. That is the 55 facts. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoy today. I will see you later.